If your brain won't shut off at night, or it won't turn on in the morning, it's not a personality flaw. There's a gene called COMT that controls how fast your brain clears dopamine, adrenaline, and estrogen. When it's dirty, meaning that it's not functioning properly, you're either wired or you're tired. I'm Dr. Ben Lynch, author of Dirty Genes, and I've helped thousands of patients and trained physicians worldwide on this exact gene. In this video, I'm going to show you what COMT does, why it's making you wired or tired, which type that you have, and the exact protocol to clean it up, so you can sleep at night, focus during the day, and stop feeling that something's wrong with you. Chapter 1. What does a COMT gene actually do? One person lies awake at 2 a.m. every night, brain racing, replaying every conversation, unable to shut it off. Another person, they can't get off the couch without 3 cups of coffee. They procrastinate on everything until the deadline forces them into action. Their doctor says, one is just type A, the other, labs are normal. But it's the same gene causing both problems. It's called COMT. It controls how fast your brain clears dopamine, adrenaline, and estrogen. Too slow, those chemicals pile up, and you feel everything too intensely. Too fast, and those chemicals get swept away before you even feel them, so you feel nothing. I want you to meet 2 people. Sarah lies awake at 2 a.m. every night, replaying conversations, anticipating problems, unable to shut off her brain. Her doctor says she's just type A. Jason, he's the opposite. He needs 3 cups of coffee just to feel functional. He procrastinates on everything until the deadline forces him into action. His doctor says his labs are normal. It's the same gene, opposite problems, and neither of their doctors have ever tested them for it. What COMT does. Every time your brain sends a signal, focus, alertness, motivation, pleasure, it uses chemical messengers. The main ones are dopamine, norepinephrine, and adrenaline. Think of them as your brain's focus, drive, and alertness chemicals. Once those chemicals deliver their message, something has to sweep them away so your brain can reset and respond to the next thing clearly. That's COMT. Think of it as your brain's cleanup crew. COMT also clears used estrogen from your system. It takes active estrogen and converts it into an inactive form your body can safely remove, which is why this one gene can have such a massive impact on hormonal health, not just brain chemistry. When COMT is working at the right speed, you'll feel focused but calm, alert but not wired, motivated but able to let go at the end of the day. When it's too slow, those chemicals pile up. You're irritable, restless, can't sleep. Your pain sensitivity goes up. Your PMS gets worse. You feel everything intensely. That's Sarah. When it's too fast, those chemicals get cleared up before you even feel them working. You're flat, unmotivated, foggy. You scroll on your phone looking for a hit of stimulation. You eat sugar for a spark, and then you crash again. That's Jason. Before I show you which type you are, and trust me, you're going to recognize yourself immediately, you need to understand what fuels this gene, because most people that I've helped think that they have a genetic problem when they actually have a nutrient problem. And that's good news because nutrients are fixable. If you're the wired one, the fix is calming the system down. If you're the tired one, the fix is building dopamine up. Same gene, completely opposite protocols. The first step is figuring out which type you are. Chapter 2. What COMT needs to work. What if your anxiety is not a mental health problem? What if it's a mineral deficiency that 48% of Americans have and they don't know about? There's an enzyme called COMT. It's your brain's cleanup crew. After your brain uses dopamine, adrenaline, and estrogen, COMT sweeps them away so you can reset. When it can't keep up, these chemicals pile up and you feel wired, anxious, or unable to sleep. Or they can get cleared out too fast and you feel flat, foggy, and unmotivated. And this enzyme runs on magnesium. Without it, COMT physically cannot work. COMT cleans up your brain chemicals through a process called methylation. Here's how it works. The COMT enzyme grabs a tiny molecule called a methyl group from a delivery molecule called SAM. Think of SAM as a supply truck. SAM stamps the methyl group onto your dopamine, adrenaline, or estrogen. That stamp changes the molecule just enough that your body no longer recognizes it as active. It gets flagged, cleared, and removed. No methyl group, no stamp, no cleanup. So COMT needs 3 things to do its job. First, SAM needs to deliver the methyl groups. Second, magnesium. Magnesium is what powers the enzyme itself. Without it, COMT physically cannot work. Third, something to clean up. That's your dopamine, adrenaline, and estrogen, which your body makes from protein. Magnesium is non-negotiable. Women with preeclampsia, a dangerous pregnancy complication, show suppressed COMT activity, and the standard treatment is IV magnesium. Now consider that 48% of the population in the US doesn't get enough magnesium for food alone. Nearly half of this country is starving this COMT enzyme, and they don't know it. SAM, the supply truck, depends on its own supply chain, such as methylfolate, methylcobalamin, and riboflavin. If any of those run low, SAM production drops, and COMT has nothing to work with. This is where another gene called MTHFR connects. If your MTHFR gene is dirty, it cuts off the methylfolate supply, which then cuts off SAM, which then starves COMT. One dirty gene makes another one dirty. Now here's an important nuance that I want to make sure I explain really well. The goal is not to push COMT as hard as possible. It's to keep it running at the right speed for your type and your situation. More SAM and more magnesium aren't always better. They help when COMT is sluggish, but they can actually cause problems when it's already running too quickly. That's why you need to know which type you are. So now you know what COMT needs. The next question is, what speed is your enzyme currently, right now? Because that changes everything about what you eat, what you supplement with, and how you handle stress. And I think you're going to recognize yourself in the next few minutes. Ask your doctor to test RBC magnesium, not the standard blood test. That one misses it. You want your red blood cell magnesium above 5. If you're below that, no supplement, no meditation, no lifestyle change is going to fix what a simple mineral deficiency is causing. Start there. Chapter 3, which COMT type are you? If you procrastinate on everything and then you crush it at the night before the deadline, you're not lazy. Your brain is draining dopamine faster than you can make it. There's a gene called COMT that controls how fast your brain clears dopamine after it's used. In fast COMT, the cleanup crew is overstaffed. It sweeps dopamine away almost immediately. So at baseline, you feel flat. Nothing feels urgent enough to act on. But when a real deadline hits, your body floods your system with so much dopamine that even the fast crew can't clear it all. That is why pressure makes you perform. There's one spot in your COMT where a single letter change determines how vulnerable you are to feeling wired, flat, or somewhere in between. Scientists call this genetic variant Val158met. Depending on which version you carry, it shifts your cleanup crew into one of 3 different speeds, and each speed comes with its own set of struggles and benefits. Slow COMT, fast COMT, or what we call intermediate COMT, which is right in the middle. Here's what each one feels like. The first type is slow COMT. The cleanup crew is understaffed. It takes 3 to 4 times longer to clear your dopamine, your adrenaline, and your estrogen compared to the fast type. So those chemicals accumulate in your brain. These people feel things intensely. They're super focused, detail-oriented, deeply alert, type A. But they also are more prone to anxiety, insomnia, pain sensitivity, rumination, and estrogen-related issues like PMS, heavy periods, and breast tenderness. Research shows that slow COMT individuals get the same level of well-being from a mildly pleasant event, such as a nice walk or even just a compliment, that fast COMT individuals need a major event to feel. You feel the good stuff deeply. Remember Sarah lying awake at 2 a.m., mind racing, told that she was just type A? She's a slow COMT. Historically, these slow COMT types were the warriors of the tribe. They were hypervigilant. They heard a noise and then sounded the alarm before everyone else in the cave even stirred. They're the reason the group survived. That anxiety that feels like a flaw, it was a built-in survival feature. The problem isn't the wiring, it's that the modern world doesn't have the same threats, so all that hypervigilance has nowhere to go. The second type is fast COMT. The cleanup crew is overstaffed. It clears dopamine up to 4 times faster than the slow type. These people often seem calm and easygoing on the surface, but privately, they feel flat, low motivation, difficulty focusing. They need caffeine, they need the sugar, or they need the pressure just to feel something. Here's the pattern that gives it away. They procrastinate on a report for days, then crush it on the night before. Home projects sit unfinished for weeks until the in-laws are coming and they knock out 3 projects in one Saturday. They're not lazy, they're starving for the neurochemical surge that only high-stake moments can deliver. Pressure isn't their enemy, it's their fuel. A landmark study confirmed exactly this. Fast COMT individuals perform better on cognitive tasks under mild stress, while slow COMT individuals performed worse. That's Jason. His doctor tested his thyroid, normal. Testosterone, normal. Because the problem was never in those labs. It was in his COMT gene clearing dopamine faster than his brain can use it. Now, historically, these fast COMT types were the warriors of the tribe. They didn't freeze up when danger arrived. They woke up. When others felt dread, they felt focused. They rode towards the threat while everyone else stepped back. Pressure didn't break them, it made them. The problem isn't the wiring, it's that the modern life isn't delivering enough real stakes to keep them running. No predators, no raids. So they manufacture them. Deadline, last minute sprints, waiting until the in-laws are pulling into the driveway. It's not procrastination, it's not laziness. It's a warrior without a battle. The third type is in between, moderate cleanup speed. You can tip toward either side of fast or slow depending on your environment, stress level, and nutrient status. Historically, these were the adapters, not the warriors. These were the ones who could read the situation and respond accordingly. Calm enough to negotiate, alert enough to act. About 25% of people of European descent are slow COMT. Roughly 50% are right in the middle. About 25% are fast COMT. These numbers shift depending upon your ancestry, but across every population, the middle is always the majority. Now pay close attention to this. Your COMT speed changes from day to day. Your genetics set the baseline. Your choices move the needle. Take someone who carries a slow COMT variant. Genetically, their cleanup crew is already understaffed, but today they're feeling fine, calm, focused, and sleeping well. They're in balance. Then let's say day one happens. They have a high protein breakfast. They had a hard exercise after work. Then after that, they have a high protein recovery meal. They feel great, accomplished, sharp, almost euphoric. But that night, they can't fall asleep. The brain won't stop. They snap at their spouse and friends over nothing. They lie awake at 2 a.m. wondering why they feel so wired. What happened? The hard runs spiked their dopamine and adrenaline. The double protein meals flooded the system with raw material for more dopamine. And their slow COMT, already behind, now had a mountain of dopamine and adrenaline it couldn't clear. So on day 2, they decided to fast. Skip breakfast, skip lunch. By afternoon, they generally felt good. They were calm, clear, even-keeled. The flood of dopamine actually drained. The backlog cleared. The balance was restored. But they keep fasting into day 3. Now it has been too long without protein. Their dopamine production drops. Their slow COMT has nothing left to clear because the brain stopped making enough to matter. By afternoon, they're flat. They're sluggish, they're unmotivated, and they're craving sugar. Same person, same genes, 3 completely different experiences in 3 different days, just from food timing and exercise. And for women, a slow COMT at mid-cycle when estrogen peaks at ovulation, not good timing. Estrogen uses the same cleanup crew as dopamine. When estrogen surges in, it cuts in line, and then dopamine backs up, adrenaline backs up. Actually, everything piles up at once. This is why PMS, breast tenderness, and anxiety hit at the same point every month. It's not random, and it's not just hormones. It's a COMT traffic jam with only one lane. You are not your genes. You are how your genes are expressed right now. Soon I'll give you the exact protocol to clean up your COMT. It's completely different for Sarah's type versus Jason's type. But first, you need to see what's making your COMT dirty. Because for most people, it's not just the genetics, it's what they're stacking on top of them. Chapter 4, what makes COMT dirty? You could eat clean, exercise, take all the right supplements, and still feel wired or tired. Because 3 things most people do every single day are quietly wrecking the enzyme that controls your dopamine, your adrenaline, and your estrogen. If you have a slow COMT, your brain's cleanup crew is already behind. Dopamine and adrenaline are piling up. Coffee adds even more chemicals COMT has to process, so the system gets overwhelmed. That's why some people feel jittery, anxious, and wired. But if you have a fast COMT, coffee works in your favor. It slows the cleanup crew down just enough to let your dopamine stick around a little longer. For the first time all day, things feel clear. The fog lifts and you feel like yourself. Now, you can be born with a slow or fast or intermediate COMT variant, but you can also have a perfectly clean COMT genetics and still have a dirty COMT because the environment is interfering with the enzyme's function. 4 things wreck it the most. Number 1, running out of fuel. Low magnesium, low B12, low folate, and low vitamin B2. Any of these starve COMT of what it needs. And here's something most people never hear. Riboflavin is the cofactor that powers MTHFR. This is a gene that produces your methylfolate. No riboflavin, MTHFR slows down. MTHFR slows down, your methylfolate levels drop. If your methylfolate levels drop, SAM production falls. And without SAM, COMT has no methyl groups left to work with. One dirty gene makes another one dirty. A sluggish MTHFR is one of the most common reasons COMT fails, even when the COMT gene itself looks perfectly clean. And here's the vicious cycle on top of that. Stress burns through magnesium faster than almost anything else. So the more stressed you are, the less fuel COMT has to process the very stress chemicals your body is pumping out. The more you need it, the less it works. This is the most common cause of a functionally dirty COMT I see. The gene looks fine on paper, but the tank is empty. Number 2, overloading the cleanup crew with extra work. Coffee, tea, chocolate, red wine, they contain compounds called catechols that COMT also has to process. So now your cleanup crew is doing double duty, handling dietary compounds on top of your dopamine and estrogen. If you're slow COMT like Sarah and already wired, stacking 3 cups of coffee on top of that is like pouring fuel on a fire. But here's the twist. If you're a COMT like Jason, these foods can actually work in your favor by gently slowing the crew down and keeping your brain chemicals around a little longer. Same foods, opposite effect. It depends entirely on your type. Number 3, fake estrogens. BPA in plastics, phthalates, parabens, personal care products. These are synthetic chemicals that mimic estrogen in your body. They add to COMT's estrogen clearing workload and actually can suppress the enzyme directly. Research on human placental tissue shows these compounds compete with real estrogen for COMT's attention. Suppressed COMT in the placenta has been linked to preeclampsia. Number 4, protein imbalance. Too much protein and your COMT gets flooded with more dopamine and adrenaline than it can clear. Too little and it has nothing to work with. Your dopamine production drops and you feel flat, foggy, and slow. The amount that feels right for you isn't the same for everyone. It depends on your type. Fast COMT needs protein with every meal. You should not skip breakfast. Don't fast for long stretches. Your cleanup crew is already working overtime. You need a steady supply of protein coming in. Slow COMT does best going lighter on protein, especially at dinner. A heavy protein meal before bed is the last thing a cleanup crew that's already behind needs. Keep your dinner light. Give the system a chance to clear the dopamine and adrenaline before you go to sleep. Intermediate COMT sits right in the middle. Pay attention to how you feel. If you're getting cold and irritable and foggy, you waited too long to eat. Feeling anxious and wired after a meal? Maybe you went too heavy. Your body will tell you. You just need to start listening. Now you know what COMT is, which type you are, and what's making it dirty. Here's how you clean it up, and I'm going to give you specific protocols, because what works for Sarah will make Jason worse, and what works for Jason will make Sarah worse. Chapter 5, how to clean up your COMT gene. She couldn't fall asleep before 2 a.m. for years. Her doctor said she was just anxious. Her therapist said she was just type A, but it was her COMT gene running too slow, letting dopamine and adrenaline pile up every night with no way to clear them. She changed 3 things. If you're a slow COMT like Sarah, your goal is to calm the system down and help the cleanup crew clear what's backed up. You start with stress. This is non-negotiable. 10 minutes of slow nose breathing in the morning, restorative yoga, walking outside bare feet in the grass, bedtime, strict limits on screens before bed. If you do nothing else, do this. No crazy movies or thrillers or catching up on the news. Turn off Wi-Fi at night. Put your phone on airplane mode. The room is dark, there's no lights. Cut caffeine use by noon, or cut it entirely. Caffeine raises your dopamine and your adrenaline while your slow COMT is already struggling to clear them. It's the worst combination for your type. With food, pull back on anything that adds to the COMT's workload. Coffee, green tea, dark chocolate, red wine. Load up on magnesium-rich foods like pumpkin seeds and dark leafy greens. Eat your cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. These help your body clear estrogen through a different route, so COMT doesn't have to do it all. And protein, keep it light at dinner. Better yet, skip it altogether. Protein is raw material for dopamine and adrenaline production. Your slow COMT is already behind. The last thing you do is you want to flood the system right before bed and then wonder why your brain won't shut off at midnight. For supplement support, start with magnesium. It's the direct cofactor the COMT enzyme can't function without. Add in calcium D-glucarate, DIM, and I3C to support healthy estrogen metabolism, taking that load off of COMT so it can focus clearing your dopamine and your adrenaline. And add in stress nutrients, which delivers targeted B vitamins and adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha, rhodiola, and schisandra to help your body maintain a healthy stress response when it matters most. Sarah followed this protocol, and within days, she was falling asleep before midnight for the first time in years. The rumination didn't disappear, but it dropped it from a roar to a murmur. Her COMT didn't change, her inputs did. He needed 3 cups of coffee just to feel functional. He procrastinated on everything, couldn't focus unless a deadline was breathing down his neck. His doctor tested his thyroid, normal, testosterone, normal, but the problem was never in those labs. His COMT was clearing dopamine faster than his brain can use it. He was running on empty every single day, and he didn't know why. He changed one thing. If you're a fast COMT like Jason, your goal is the opposite. You need to build dopamine up and slow the cleanup crew down. The biggest thing for you is protein. You have to eat breakfast. Protein with every meal. Do not skip meals. Do not fast for long periods of time. Your fast COMT is clearing dopamine almost as fast as you make it. If you're not eating enough protein, you're not producing enough to keep up. This is the single most important factor for fast COMT. For stimulation, moderate intensity actually helps you. Brisk exercise, cold plunges, engaging work, music. These build up your dopamine naturally instead of chasing it through caffeine, sugar, and scrolling. And moderate amounts of green tea and dark chocolate, the same foods that slow COMT should avoid, can actually work in your favor here because they gently slow the cleanup crew down. For supplements, dopamine nutrients gives your body the building blocks it needs to support healthy dopamine levels, like tyrosine, key B vitamins, and the cofactors that make production of dopamine possible. Now, if you take dopamine nutrients and you don't notice much difference, the bottleneck may actually be further upstream. Your body needs a molecule called BH4 to actually convert those building blocks into usable dopamine. And if you don't have enough BH4, the raw materials just sit there. Brain nutrients supports healthy BH4 levels. Stack it with dopamine nutrients if one alone isn't enough. Jason started eating breakfast with 30 grams of protein every morning, and then he added dopamine nutrients with brain nutrients. Within the hour, something shifted. It wasn't a stimulant buzz, just clarity, and with it, the desire to actually get things done. The fog he'd accepted as normal was not normal at all. Neither was the flatness. His brain finally had what it needed to support normal dopamine production. When your genes have the right tools and the right amounts, they get to work fast. Now, if you're in between, you adjust based upon how you feel from day to day. Getting cold and hangry, you waited too long to eat. Eat your protein. Not hungry and feeling good, go lighter or skip the meal altogether. Your stress and your environment will determine which direction you tip on any given day. And regardless of your type, start clearing out the fake estrogens, glass containers instead of plastic, fragrance-free products, filter your water, ditch the scented plugins, sauna a couple times a week. Every one of those changes frees up your COMT so it can focus on its real job, keeping your brain chemicals in balance. If you want to know your actual genetic type, Strategy shows how your COMT connects to other genes, not just one gene in isolation. I'll link to it in the description below. And if you want a quick check on whether your COMT is working well right now, ask your doctor to test your homocysteine levels. Optimal homocysteine is around 7. Above 10, your COMT is most definitely underperforming. Also check red blood cell magnesium above 5, not just within range. COMT is one of the super 7 genes I cover in Dirty Genes. I'll link the book in the description below. And if you haven't seen my video on MTHFR, watch that one next. Because if your MTHFR is dirty, it's cutting off the fuel supply your COMT needs to function. You could be doing everything in this video right and still have a dirty COMT if you do not address the MTHFR first. Your genes are not a life sentence. They're a starting point, and every choice you make from here, what you eat, how you sleep, and what you put in your body, is information your genes respond to. That's the power you actually have.